We've all been there, haven't we? Those moments where it feels like you're pushing against a brick wall and the world is just pushing right back. That feeling of being totally and completely stuck. So, what are you supposed to do when it seems like every single circumstance is designed to hold you back? Well, that is exactly what we're going to get into today. And you know what's really interesting is that this whole explainer doesn't start with some big, rah-rah motivational speech. Nope, it starts right here with this really blunt truth. It just straight up acknowledges that, yeah, the world is absolutely overflowing with perfectly good reasons to just give up. And what's so powerful about starting here is that it validates how you feel. Instead of telling you to just ignore the obstacles, the insight here is, hey, you're right. That huge mountain in front of you, it is real. The excuses you have, they often make perfect sense. And honestly, that acknowledgement is the foundation for everything we're about to unpack. Okay, so if we all agree the challenges are real, how in the world do we navigate them? To explain this, we're introduced to this fantastic metaphor. Think of yourself as a ship at sea, trying to find your way through the totally unpredictable winds of life. It's a feeling we all know so well. You've got those amazing tailwind days where everything just clicks into place and progress feels almost effortless. Then, of course, there are the headwind days where every single step, every action is a struggle. And maybe the worst of all, those moments of dead calm where you just feel completely adrift with no momentum at all. And this is where the core idea really starts to take shape. This slide basically asks us a huge, fundamental question. Is your journey dictated by the wind? Are you completely at the mercy of whatever external conditions come your way? Or is your journey guided by an inner compass, a mission that keeps you on course no matter what the weather is doing outside? This quote just drives the point home so perfectly. Look, it's easy to move forward when you've got a tailwind pushing you from behind. Anyone can do that. But if that's the only way you can make progress, well, your whole journey becomes completely unreliable. Real, sustainable strength, this philosophy suggests, has to come from somewhere else entirely. So if we can't rely on the wind, what's the alternative? This is where we get a radical shift in perspective. It tells us to stop looking outside for power and instead to start looking inside. Instead of asking, how do I fight this storm? It asks us to look within. See, the problem isn't the darkness outside. The real challenge is whether we have our own light turned on. The solution isn't about fighting the headwind, it's about starting our own internal engine. And this internal power source, it has a name. The source material calls it the fire of mission, but psychologists have another term for it you might know: intrinsic motivation. It's that drive you feel when you do something just because you love it, not because you're expecting some reward. The action itself becomes the prize. And when this inner fire is truly lit, the whole dynamic just flips. Moving forward is no longer about discipline or gritting your teeth and forcing yourself with willpower. As this idea puts it, you suddenly have no choice but to move forward. It stops being a decision and starts feeling like this unstoppable internal impulse. The metaphor here gets even clearer. Your mission is like a powerful engine deep inside your ship. And this engine, it doesn't care about the wind, it doesn't care about the waves. It generates its own power, totally independent of whatever storm is raging outside. Your progress is no longer determined by circumstances. It's driven by your own conviction. Okay, this all sounds amazing in theory, right? But how do we actually do it? How do we light this fire? How do we start that engine? Well, the very first step we learn is surprisingly, and I mean wonderfully, simple. So get this. This isn't some secret technique reserved for heroes or geniuses. You don't need a huge, complicated plan. You don't need some special training. It's accessible to every single one of us right now. And it all begins with just a single, simple thought. The process laid out right here is almost like an ignition sequence. It all starts with a simple choice, the decision to fulfill your mission. That decision then creates a genuine desire to act. And that desire, that's what leads you to actually try. It all flows from that one tiny initial spark of a thought. But what if that word mission just feels a little, a little too big, a little intimidating? Well, this concept makes it very clear. This applies to every single one of us, no matter what our role in life is. Yeah, we are not talking about some grand, world-changing quest here. In this context, a mission is simply about being a source of light right where you already are.
It's about finding purpose and making a positive impact in the role you have today.
You can find a mission in any role you can imagine. As a parent, hey, your mission could be creating a loving, stable home. As a manager, it's about leading your team with real purpose. Even as an employee, your mission could be as simple as offering support to a coworker who's having a tough time, or noticing a small improvement no one else sees. Each one is a way of lighting a candle. And this brings us to the final and maybe the most powerful paradox of this whole idea. Difficult circumstances, those headwinds and storms we talked about, they don't extinguish your inner light. They actually make it shine brighter. They make it more valuable. I mean, think about it. A single candle is most appreciated in a completely dark room. So the final challenge here isn't to wait for the storm to pass. It's to look at your life right now in whatever role you're in and ask yourself this one simple question. What is the small flame that you can light at this very moment?